please. I'm up, man.
Press close and go
Okay.
on.
Okay. Greetings to you wherever we are. I hope this live meet you in good health and a very stable state of mind, because what we're gonna discuss today, it is not really based on intellectual knowledge. It is based on experience. And that is what I would definitely like to share with you. Uh, we are living in an age of AI, and there's a lot of information out there on the World Wide Web. As a matter of fact, it's an ocean of information, and many people getting drowned in the ocean of information because of the information age and the technological age that we are living in. But when it comes to the single eye, I know that when I speak totally from experience, 100% experience. And so it always baffles me when I see people on the internet saying that you need to do this and you need to do that to have this experience. And I know that it's just about, making content and getting people to click. I've seen people gone so far that they would have even drawn the eye of Horus right here. I even tattoo it on their skin. And the funny thing is that people who do these things, many of them who are influencers on the internet, they have so much followers and people following them. But this experience is not just an opening of an eye. No. You see, the very, very first event of this great experience is actually the coming together of two fluid. Okay, I'm using the word fluid for lack of word right now, okay? And it is a fluid that will come from above, and it would meet with another fluid at the base of your spine. And when the two unite, that is where you would first experience the great earthquake. I call it the great earthquake, the mighty shaking that would take place. Okay. And after this great and mighty shaking, that's when you would awake. So people talking about opening up third eye and so on. You see, this deep sleep of amnesia is not something that you just casually do some rituals and you're gonna awake. No. You've been sleeping for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. Okay. And when you awake, then you will understand why it is said that you'll experience a change from mortal to immortality, because you will definitely discover your immortal self while you remain on this three-dimensional plane, whereby you have to experience your mortality, knowing that one day you're going to change dimension and leave this avatar our body here. So when you book of mind science, which is the Bible, when it states in Matthew 6:22 that if your eye be single, that your whole body will be full of light. Religious people do not understand it because it is not intellectual knowledge. Preachers on the pulpit never experience it. And people who call themselves prophets and prophetess, they never experience it. Because when you do experience it, you would realize that the image that has been portrayed all around the world as the image of the Messiah, that it is fake and it's a lie. You would realize that there's someone would have stolen your identity and trying to be you. You see, even as I speak to you, I always look at myself and look at the soil all around me, look at nature all around me, and it reflects me. And so when you understand the eye of providence, the single eye, the eye of intelligence, the eye that would introduce you to your creativity and introduce you to your real identity, which is your divinity, that eye would also help you to understand the psychological language of money. That is why everything that you will ever need in this life will be shown to you how to attract it into your reality when your eye, which is your non-physical eye, the eye that is within, when it is truly open. Have you ever wondered why, when it comes to the single eye and people being awakened and people experiencing enlightenment, if you go on the internet, you see they show you a bunch of men who experience enlightenment, and you'll never see anyone that looks like me. It's definitely a joke. Okay. And the reason why they do not portray the melanated man, it is because the people who can easily activate the opening of this single eye to discover the light body, the carbon body, to come in union with the divine self. These people have been colonized through religion and religious beliefs. And so instead of they look within themselves, they're looking on the outside for someone to come and save them and someone to come and deliver them. And many of them get trapped in fake or false education, which is basically intellectual knowing without any experience at all. You see, when this single eye in you awakes, are open, and you change from mortal to immortality, you'll definitely discover the secret of alchemy. You do not have to join no brotherhood. You do not have to join no society. You do not have to join no fraternity. And you do not have to tell any lie and have any fake legacy. For example, it was just recently I removed the name of this channel because I was playing a game with the people who was actually trying to play a game with melanated people by feeding them a lie of a man that they esteem. And they call him a great mistake. They call him a great philosopher, but he's a great liar. And their family has established themselves in the Caribbean, and they run the biggest business in my country, okay? And when I went up in the building and take a picture of Neville Goddard's father, which is Joseph, and you can go back on my this channel here, and you can see the many videos I make concerning Neville Goddard and Abdullah, which Abdullah is a makeup thing, okay? Because they don't want you to understand your relevance to Ethiopia, your connection to Ethiopia, and understand your bloodline and really who you are. They use certain things to distract you. So he came up with this story after he would have read this man Lanyan. I'm trying to remember his first name, okay? His books, okay? Neville Goddard was introduced to Walter C. Lanyan books and so on, and introduced to many other books when he met the man in England, okay? And Neville been born in the Caribbean, in Barbados, to be specific. It is because of his lineage would have owned slaves. Okay, I prove all of these things, and I have the link to the newspaper in Barbados when one of the last member of his family died. I forget the name of this guy, Richard Goddard. When Richard Goddard died, okay, I share all of these things, okay. But was just recently I was like exposing him and so on, and the people who got mad with me and so on, and then they shadow banned me, okay, because they felt threatened, okay, with me exposing him and the brotherhood. Though I didn't say exactly which brotherhood, but as a leader, okay, the leader understand principles, certain principles. So a leader will know how far to go. So I know exactly how far to go and what to say and what not to say, okay? And that's why I draw the line when I reach a certain place. And then after that, I remove that name and I do not make any videos anymore concerning him. I could do so much, okay? I can go and I can do a live. I can show all the businesses in my country and so on under different names and how they just pass them down from one generation to another generation, but it remains in a certain lineage of people, okay? Go through all of that, okay? But I just want the understanding of the single eye to make sense to you as you listen to me as a melanated person, okay? As a melanated person, when that eye open in you, you will understand colonization and how colonization been used to keep you in a certain way. You will understand what is actually going on all around the world. You will understand the Bible from every angle, whether it's the esoteric angle, the metaphysical angle, the psychological angle, the even historical angle. Every angle you will understand it by based on experience, not based on you reading a book and quoting someone else's mind. It's not about that. Okay. This experience of the opening of this single eye, which states that if your eye be single, that your whole body will be full of light. This light is esoteric in nature, and it is connected to your psyche. It have to do with your insight. It have to do with your inner vision. It would definitely help you to become a visionary. It would definitely help you to see life from a different perspective. And even those who grow up with you and around you, they would think that you're crazy. They would think that you're lost your mind. Okay. And those who make sure they put this single eye on the US dollar and most of the world believe that it is the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, and they're not wrong, because Lucifer is the light bringer. You see, if you don't understand that the Bible clearly states that God is the devil, you will go from one extreme to the next. And when your eye is open, you would know the polarity of good and evil. And that's why in Genesis, you read that when you eat the fruit, that your eye would be open and you would understand good and evil. Okay, you would definitely understand polarity. So I'm saying all of this to say to melanated people that there's a people on this planet that they just have to do their work. And if you were in their place, you would have done the same thing. Okay, so it's not about trying to condemn. It is not about trying to use insults. It's not about pulling down. It is not about trying to change any system. It's about changing yourself. Because there's no one to blame and there's no one to change but self. So I'm saying to you that when I really self-realize, self-actualize, really enlightened, awakened one, when his eye, his inner eye, has been opened, he cannot compromise. You have to speak from his experience. And there's no amount of money that anyone can give to him to sell him himself short, to just play with people's mind and tell them what they want to hear. He would never accept anything for clicks and views. He cannot be bought or sold, okay? Because his entire existence, his entire consciousness and awareness is based on what he would have experienced or what he would have become. So this I that you read about in the Bible is you coming to your true essence. It is you becoming invisible. So when you say if your eye be single, it is talking about if you become invisible, you know that God is light. And you know that there is an inner sun science and technology. That's why I've been teaching it for years. And I've been always teaching that the sun, the SUN, it parallels the human imagination. And the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there's no life. And there's no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. So when you understand that you're a carbon being, when you understand that melanin is the invisible fluid, that's the terminology I normally use. It's an invisible fluid that you will find within yourself. And when it's been activated, you transcend very fast. So if you're a melanated person listening to me, I'm telling you that you can transcend faster than any other being on this planet. If you be willing to unlearn and relearn and reprogram your subconscious mind. And the good thing is that if I am truthful and what I'm saying is true, and you truly connected and become united with me, I am telling you, there's certain experiences you will get in the dream world, in the non-physical world, because I have to be authenticated. You have to get the secret, because every experience that you have is actually a secret. Your experience is yours, mine is mine. That is why if what I'm saying is true and you truly connected, you're going to get certain visitation. The ancestors going to come to you, okay, and they're going to show you the light. So my brother, my sisters, if you should take anything away from what I'm saying never take the Bible just to be literal and secular history. Okay? Go deeper than that and see it as a book of mind science. Also, see it as a book that comes out of the continent of Africa and from no other place. And never accept or believe any savior or messiah that doesn't look like you. It doesn't make any sense. It's all nonsense. Okay. So all of these people on the internet who talking about how to open up your third eye and single and all of that. No. You see, when that eye open, it has nothing to do with just here. It's not here. It's here and beyond. Okay. So people look at these people in India and so on and see they have the dati and all of that, and they try to tell you, oh, it's about here and all of that. No. It's beyond here. Okay. You understand? You definitely bought your crown chakra. The story of the virgin birth and the resurrection is the same event of the opening of the eye. The same one. It's the one and same event. Okay. The story of the main character of the scriptures is based on the same opening of this eye. It's all one event. You see, there's one event that would take place in one night, would open up the seals. Yeah, the seals of your life. That is why I was able to construct a Bible with the last book being the book of Chronicles, while they would have give the world a Bible with Genesis to Malachi as the Old Testament. And then they give you from Matthew to Revelation as the New. And I change that. I give you John as the beginning of the New. Yeah. You see, self-love. That's what you have to start with, self-love, self-acceptance. You have to embrace yourself, okay? And if you listen to any death announcement when someone passed, it is the chronicle. They're telling you the chronicle of the life. When they're born, what they accomplish, the last thing they do, and so on. How many children they bring forth, and so on. That's the book of Chronicles right there in the Bible. And then when that eye open in you, there's no way, as a melanated person, that you wouldn't be led all the way back to Ethiopia. That's why the other books that they remove, you do not even have to read those books to know what it's all about. So, my brother, my sisters, this I that I'm speaking about is an intelligence. It's an information highway, but it takes place within. So, just like how you have information highway and they call it www.com, and people tap into that information highway and they get a bunch of intellectual knowledge and so on. I'm telling you, when you tap in to this super highway that is within, this super information highway or intelligence that is within, it is a portal that opens. So this eye is opening up a portal. So when people say, oh, the pineal gland and all of these things and so on, and they read the story of Solomon, you realize it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N. Because you realize that there's a portal, a opening, a portal to another dimension. And when the portal to that other dimension open, it is when your IQ would have to go to another level. And when you start to live in that intelligence, people wouldn't be able to understand you. They would think that you're stupid. They would think that you're crazy. Okay, that's why many people call me stupid, they call me crazy, all of these things. Okay, and it never moved me. So, my brother, my sisters, I want you to make sense of the Bible by understanding it as a book of mind science. So, grab hold of your mind. And it starts with you accepting yourself, which means you have to get rid of the fake Messiah they give you. They give you a fake Messiah. I'm not afraid to tell you that. They give you a fake Messiah to believe in. If you were raised to believe in secular Christianity that's pointing to look outwardly and so on, you're brainwashed. It's all idolatry. Okay? When your eye become single, it is when you become, as I said before, invisible. When you become pure consciousness and you experience yourself as pure consciousness, pure awareness. You experience yourself as the wind. That's why you will experience the mighty wind. And you speak in a universal language because you had the upper room experience. Okay, and when you speak in that language, it doesn't matter where in the world people live in. There's something inside of them that will connect with you. Because if they have that deep calling to the deep, when the deep comes, it would definitely respond. That is why those of you who are listening to me, ask the ancestors to give you experience concerning who I am and what I am saying. And it would remain a secret. You see, all of the secret brotherhoods all around the world, some Caucasian man behind of it. And the modern day horse slaves, whether is it those on the pulpit, are the black bully, are those in the entertainment industry, those who been given such and such a money and so on. All of them are willing to sell you out. But when one have a true awakening experience, it comes with a message that would all be a secret. That's why those of you who are listening to me, though you're hearing me speaking English, I'm still speaking in parables. There has always been and will always be a secret language, a language of symbology. There will always be a secret brotherhood. There will always be a melanated secret brotherhood. Okay? And you can't join it. You can't join it. Only by experience you could be initiated into it. So if you've been initiated, I've been initiated, there must be union, there must be oneness. So when people think that black people cannot unite, it's not true. We can unite. Though they devise a system to keep us to divided, because it based on divide, rule, and conquer. I am telling you, once that eye is open in you, we are united and we will see things on the same level. We will vibrate on the same frequency. We will understand money. We will understand our economy. We will understand our inner ecology, our outer ecology. We will understand voodoo and all of these other sciences that are still here to remind us that we always had and would always have a spiritual science. Even in my country, where the Shaker, if you never know that, you can research that, okay? And soon I'll do a book on it, the Shaker Baptist. And the man who's ruling my country was a Caucasian, the origin is Caucasian. He gave them a holiday. And the people do not understand they're carrying a science and they're doing all the rituals and so on, but do not know it's a hidden science because it was polluted. Because even the colonizers couldn't understand the science, so what they did, they interject the fake Jesus in it, the white Jesus, the Zionism. They polluted it with some Zionism in it. So this same man who right now, because we are in a right now this is the election here in my country, right? And wearing this certain cross, this Ethiopian cross and everything and all of that, which many of the men who know certain things, they will wear these things and so on. But if you can't unfold those things, you would understand. Okay. But when I ask the people why were you persecuted and so on, they don't know. There's no one in the Caribbean who's ever been persecuted for what they believe, and their belief was based on white Jesus or some Caucasian man or some Messiah on the outside. Isn't that true? You understand? And so the whole history and everything they tell us is a lie. So when that eye open, you could rewrite your entire history of your country and so on. And you could expose all the lie, all of the Columbus lie and all of these things. You just laugh at them. You know, they give the people a national hero too. Is a lie. They tell them about Caribbean Arawaks and Garifuna people. All these things are lies. Okay. Because if the original indigenous people of this country was Caribbean Arawaks and so on, get them to read the hieroglyphs that was left here. Get them to go to Egypt and read what's there. Okay. Get them to go to Mexico and read what's there and so on. Read the language of symbology. And then their lineage couldn't be from South America to in the Caribbean. No, it had to be all around the world. So, my brothers, my sisters, this eye, this all-seeing eye, is waiting on you. But it has to start with you looking into the mirror of life and accepting that you are the cause of everything that's happening. And accepting yourself just as you are, loving yourself, believing yourself, and embracing yourself. And it will start right there. That's where it starts. You have to definitely come to a place where you must totally reject religion, especially secular Christianity. Okay, that was given to you and pointed to look on the outside. You have to totally reject that. Okay, to really find yourself. And you definitely have to understand that the Bible is mind science. It's all mind science. Okay. And start to use it as a magic book. See, once you have the Bible in your home and you have the mirror, you have two magical tools that you can use to give you your every desire. Because as I come to a close here, because I really want to make this one short, okay, you have to understand the only slavery that is taking place in the world right now is economic slavery. That's the only slavery that it is. So once you break this whole money system inwardly by understanding the power of your psyche, understand what is money, understand yourself as a living, flowing currency, and start to understand the power of telling a lie. Do you realize that the Bible is teaching you how to use a lie and transmute that lie into reality? For example, if I was to ask anyone who was raised to believe in secular Christianity, what is faith? They say faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It is you understanding the polarity of life and truth. You see, out of darkness comes what? Light. So if you were never trained to tell a lie in such a way that you could feel the lie to be the truth, you will never experience the inner science of alchemy. You will never understand what is happening in the earth when you plant a seed in the soil. Whenever a farmer sow a seed in the soil, he have to become delusional. You have to become a professional liar. I remember years ago walking with a person who had a very, very, very religious and superstitious mentality, and they couldn't understand how I was manifesting things, and they couldn't manifest things. They was telling me, "Well, maybe you mystical or something." They thought I was special, and they wasn't special, and so on. And it's because this person just couldn't feel themselves. They couldn't acquire that feeling because it was like a stumbling block. It was like blocking up the wells, and she couldn't really understand it. And that is what most melanated people have been doing and will continue to do, because they cultivate this religious and superstitious mentality through the colonization that would have taken place in all of these countries. And they colonize their mind from a very young age. That's why up to this day, the school system remains the same. In your formative years, they rape you with the Jesus, the white man, the fake Israelite, the man with a different complexion than you, and they tell you that color doesn't matter. It's not true. It does matter. For example, in my country right now, where they have the Sanders Hotel, and I wrote a book, I think way back 2017, 2018, called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger. And this where they take white sand from other places, they import white sand and bring it and trade over the black sand. Because in my country, you have black sand beaches and you have white sand beaches. Those beaches that are closest to the volcano areas, the black sand, okay? And those that is more in the middle, okay? And in the Grenadines, they are white sand, okay? But if I was to say that all around the world, you look at the soil, it looks like you, and that's where everyone in this world get their food to eat from, to survive. But yet, when it comes to building a resort, these people are so mindful of complexion and color and so on, that they would take white sand and trade over the black sand and brainwash the people of the islands through their politicians who tell them about investors who are actually slave masters who invest in their energy and their labor after they already set up a system, okay, a school system to make you a worker, an obedient worker. And they're telling you, well, the tourists, they rather white sand than black sand. You see how it works? And when your eye don't open, your single eye, you see how you remain being blind and being a slave. What kind of slave? Economic slave, financial slave. So that is why when you read in Matthew 6, you see that it's telling you everything that you want in this world is yours if you have the right understanding. If you understand the power of your mind, if you know that you're a magician and you become a conscious magician, you're reading of a master magician, which is you, and thinking is a man who existed thousands of years ago that doesn't even look like you, because you fail to realize that every existence that ever take place on this planet is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, a state of awareness. Take away your five senses. See, taste, touch, and smell. What are you? So, yes. So they and just recently my girl was showing me where and the sandals, okay. Because as I said, I wrote the book called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger. And in that book, I state that because I walk off of that resort, okay, even before I become fully awakened, okay, I walk off of it. I told them I'm not an indentured servant, neither I have a slave mentality, okay, I cannot be controlled by money, okay. And it was my imagination. I used to work there, okay, and when they started employing people there as trainers, okay, they never employ any melanated person. Was always some white person, and the last guy they had was from South Africa. But I continued to use my mind power because while they was building the resort, I said I'm gonna work there. I'm gonna work there as a trainer, and I did. Okay, I remember when a guy met me in the city and he said, bro, I remember you wrote a application and you say you wanted us to get a work down there. He say the guy, the South African guy, I think he mother sick, he mother die, one out the two, and he's the only beneficiary, and he have to go back to South Africa. Go down there now. Okay. You see, so, and when I go down there, they wanted a trainer who I could have done yoga, and these people who wasn't even qualified, these white people was running this spa and so on, they wasn't qualified, to be honest with you. Okay, they were running a scheme whereby they were just bringing up their own kind and put them in certain position. They wasn't qualified. They say, okay, come back the next day and you're gonna do a yoga class with us. And I did a yoga class with them. Okay, they had to do that. But if was someone look like them, they're not gonna do that. Okay, I can tell you a whole long story about this whole thing, but to cut a long story short, the man who was running that resort was David Ames. He's in prison right now. He's a British man. Okay, and he's not in prison because of what he done in my country, you know, because he took all the money and so on. They never was paying our NIS, which is like your taxes that when you become at a certain age, you could get back. They was lying to the people and so on. And they allowed this man to get out of the country scot-free. But he's still in prison. But he's in prison in England for other investors' money we take and so on and all of that. It's a whole mess. And then I wrote the book. Before all of that happened, okay, when I walk off of it, I wrote that book, okay, based on a certain dream I had and so on. I wrote that book. And I said that they're gonna take that same place and they're gonna revamp it, okay, and they're gonna offer the people what seems to be like a little bit more money, a little bit more opportunity, and then the government that system gonna use that and so on. That's exactly what Sandals does. So then in the big scamdemic in 2020 and so on, when people was busy and being distracted, they was open up a bunch of resorts all over the place and so on. That's when they break the when they cut the curtain or whatever, okay, and so on, the ribbon or whatever they just cut and so on, right? And buy back that same place, which that place was originally a slave plantation run by the Punnets. They're the people, they own the most land in this island. Okay, yeah. And yeah, as I tell you, it could be a whole long story, okay? And they buy back Adam Stewart and so on, and then now they're running this thing now. And then now they have the people. When I see this thing, I so ashamed. When the visitors come, there's a group of black people, they have to sing a song, a certain song. And when they leave in, they have to sing a certain song. Man, I could just see the slavery so much. It's like something I just want to cry. I remember when I was working at the gym and the resort, Bukomembe Resort, when I decided to take a walk around, you know, when I see my brothers solving at the pool and the pool boy and these people lying on cots in the sun, and I couldn't stand it. I trust me, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand. Sometimes when I walk in the gym, you know, I am in air condition, comfort and everything and so on. I have fridge there with everything inside. Sometimes I see these people doing landscape and I say, you want a bottle of water? Get water, and if I get water, I still have fruits there, everything. I to me, I just couldn't stand it. I just seen slavery altogether again. That's why the slave system is now in a systematic way. Okay, I can, you know, you see, and all the time, you know, it was me being trained, okay, until the fully opening of my inner eye, the eye of vision. That's why, you know, I'm not gonna wait until I die for someone say, oh, this man was a visionary, this man was a legend. No, I'm a living legend. Okay, that's why I never been over. I'm telling you, I'll never join any secret brotherhood. I'll never join no secret fraternity. None of that. I'll never do it. I'd rather die than do that. Okay. If there's any secret society, you have to be mine. I have to be the one who starts it. And the secret will always be in you. That's why anyone who has certain experience will know there will always be a secret. Everyone will always be carrying a secret. But not by joining anything. Because my experience will always be a secret just to me. But I can share it with you. I have the experience. You see, so that's what it really all about, but they don't want you to know. So, my brother and my sisters, you know, you can go back on my older videos before with Neville Garden and so on and see. He's a liar. They are liars. Okay? Neville lied. And so, After I removed the name Abdullah, I never got and so on, and I wrote books and so on and put the Bible. I know exactly what I was doing. Because if you read the Black Mystic from Ethiopia, never got and mentor, you see what I was doing. If you check out the Bible, I removed Jesus completely, and as I dedicated to Abdullah, I never got. You see what I was doing. I know exactly what I was doing. Okay. So, my brother, my sisters, you can go back and check out those things and realize, okay, that messengers after messengers have all been coming to you people. But you have to wake up and we have to unite. There must be a united Africa. There must be a united Caribbean. And how are we going to do it? To the mind. It's not by uprising. It's not by taking up weapons. It's not by doing none of that. Okay? It's not by none of that. So I'm sharing my experience with you. And all you have to do is deep within. Ask your ancestors to give you some sort of experience within concerning me. Yeah, that's it. It's as simple as that. Okay? Because if you've been called, you've been sent, if you've been chosen, you must be vindicated, you must be authenticated. And if it's been done in secret, in the invisible, it'll be secret to you too. Okay? Yeah, nothing to join and do a bunch of rituals and just us out the way and do all of these gimmicks and her hand sign and this side and that side. You don't need that. I just recently I went to the post office, right? I went to collect some stuff someone sent for me, some books. And I was there speaking to a person there because I worked there for 17 years before, right? So I was speaking to someone who I met there before. But I was just killing some time because the person had gone for lunch. We had to collect the box and so on. So I was killing some time there with him. And so I was speaking to him, and someone was there and they hear me. And that person was throwing signs, and I wasn't responding to their sign. So he was telling me, how is it that woman was like, I'm looking at you so and so. And I said, she was throwing a bunch of signs, but I'm not a part of their cabal. I said, I met people like that before. So from experience, I know signs. She was sure I know it because it's the same thing the person did. When I went by the grocery one time and I said certain thing, and I was just trying to spread to catch a wheel because how this person here is a person who is a part of such and such. I just spread to catch when I start to talk and you do the same kind of thing, I catch it. You catch, so sometimes people could just look at you and it's symbol and sign and so on. But anyway, so my brother, my sisters, this single light thing is I experience, okay? There's no way you could be a melanated person and your inner eye open and you do not see these fake people. You cannot see colonialism. You cannot see how the Bible was interpreted to enslave our people. You cannot see economic slavery. There's no way you can see these things. Okay? There's no way your eyes could open and you realize that this life is a dream and you awake out of the dream. That's why certain people would never collab with me. Because some of them were afraid that they will be endangering the channel, especially people who look like me. And those who doesn't look like me wouldn't want me to pose certain questions to them or to ask them certain things or to tell them that they're inheriting certain things that doesn't belong to them. And they've been given certain privilege and it's based on a lie. It's based on what is basically what is happening. Anyone must come and say, you can see what's happening right now with American ships in the Caribbean water. These pirates. I did some videos. I post them up to on this channel. Okay, concerning these pirates in the Caribbean right now. Okay. So my brother and my sister, I really want to thank you very much, for listening. Thank you for the comments. Let me see. Someone here was sending greetings. Okay. Someone was saying here, much love to you, King. Much love to you, Queen. Okay. Someone's comment here and they say, so Neville Goddard is a liar. When it comes to, he talking about Abdullah, a black man from Ethiopia who was a mystic. As no. You see, these people are keepers of time. They know at a certain time, they understand how the planets and so on works and the earth and so on. At a certain time, there'll be an awakening. Melanated men gonna rise. Melanated mystics gonna come forth and so on. So they're giving you a historical thing because they don't want you to really capture the eternal now. They want you to believe that there's such a thing that was and will be. They want you to believe in yesterday and tomorrow, but you always in yesterday and tomorrow in the present tense. Okay, it's the same thing happening over and over and over and over and over. The same families that run these plantations, that run these businesses in the islands and so on. It's the same thing happening, and it is the same ones who resist slavery, who are willing to die, who's willing to fight, okay, and give their life. It's the same thing happening back here all the time. Okay, so that is why since I was a little boy, okay, my desire have always been to free the slaves. Okay, and I see the slaves. Right now, there's so many of these slaves in these churches. These churches are owned by people who actually live in Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee. Okay, there's a church not too far from where I'm speaking here, down the road, down there. It fell right now. It fell with people who hold top positions in the island and so on. They're there right now with the certain vehicles parked and all of these things. You understand? And so people gonna follow the crowd, follow the follower. And so these people can easily have influence on these people because these people are so materialistic. They look at what these people have. Okay. And forget that this is just a temporal journey. And anything that you want in this world, you can have it. Okay. If you understand, okay, how to feel alive into truth, into becoming a reality. Okay. So the the, the Bible is teaching you basically when you really understand faith, the knowledge of lie and truth and how they correlate. Okay. They tell you to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. They never tell you to accept the devil. But Jesus is the devil. Yeah. They tell you accept God and believe in God, but they never really never tell you what it really means. For example, it was just yesterday I went into the grocery, and when I put my even also when I was driving the area, my spirit tell me to go back to the place where they have the Hall of Fame, which I did a video on that concerning what the man lived there. A very, very rich man. You already passed on. You have this shopping mall. I remember many, many years ago from as a little boy, I used to go to his movie houses and so on, right? Very rich man. And he have all of these people who he claim contributed, do certain contribution in the island and so on. And I will go there, okay, and he had a sign that says in God we trust. And I did a video on another channel and I talk about it and show what it's really all about. And yesterday when I go to the grocery, when I was driving before I parked, my spirit was telling me to go there. But then I went in the supermarket, do my grocery shopping, and came out, put them in the vehicle, and then I went up there. And the strange thing is they removed the sign that says in God we trust, because I unfold it on a channel that I have to dedicated to this island right here. Okay. And it has like less than 100 subscribers to it. Okay. And I talk about it, they remove it. So you find even all of the prime ministers, all of these people, they're there. Okay, there's some of them have on this cross, Ethiopian cross, and all those things and so on. There's so much a thing, okay, and some of them they write the contribution they did and so on, and some they remove them, okay, and so on. But they remove the sign in God with us. Same day with the Never Gathered family and so on, where I went to the building. After that, the public cannot go up in that building again. After I went up there, show Joseph got a picture, everything. I showed the mission statement, everything. You can find on this channel, okay. But it's way back, a couple of years ago I did that, okay. After that, the black you can't go up there again. Only workers and so on who know the code could press the code and go up there. And if you want to go up there and so on, you have to like probably call the person and so on to come down from up there and so on. Okay, so yeah. So I know the things that I'm doing, is for humanity. Okay, it's not for myself. It's not me trying, to build something and ego. No. I born for this. I'm gonna do this till the day I leave. Okay. So, my brother, my sisters, um, if I be single, you will know all of the lies as a melanated person. Okay, and let me say this: the reason why I always stress about melanated people and always bring my message as if I'm just speaking to melanated people is because the man that walk from the burning bush that doesn't consume, just in African clothing, okay, he was a melanated man just like me. And at the time I was listening to a white man who called himself a prophet and so on, which he was basically um, he was a Freemason, and he was a part of the KKK. Okay, and millions of people all around the world, especially African, believe in this man to be last, the prophet and so on. Okay, but I could tell you so much and so much of stories. Okay, someone is, so we don't need religion. What you need is self-realization. Okay, um, to say that don't need religion, I'm not gonna say that, because there's so much people who are void of understanding how the mind really works. In order for there to be balance, you need these things. You know what I mean? Because, for example, the judiciary system will tell people when they kill and so on, whether it was premeditated and so on. But every crime was premeditated, okay? But you have to have them kind of systems in place to basically create balance, to have balance. Okay, these things are needed. Okay, so the thing is not religion is the problem, is the interpretation. So whatever religion it is, the teachings could be interpreted to you in a way to enslave you, and it could be interpreted to you in a way to free you. That's it, basically. So, for example, if I want to start like my own religion, okay, my religion will always be a secret religion, because why? It will all be based on experience. So you won't be following me and based on belief. You will be putting what I say to work and prove it for yourself. And when you prove it, it remains a secret, because it's only you it happened to. Okay, and your experience is not my experience, and my experience is not your experience, in terms of what you experience is personal to you. And what I experience is personal to me. So even if we have the same experience, it's personal to you, it's a secret to you, it's a secret to make it take place within. That's why it tells you in the book of mind science that two would be in bed, one would be taken and the other would be left. That's what I experienced, being on a bed with a woman, lying with a woman when I had my experience. Okay. And all the other experiences that I've been having. Okay. So that is what it's all about. So, my brother and my sisters, you do not have to sell your soul to the music industry. You don't have to sell it yourself to the entertainment industry and so on. Okay. You just have to learn to love yourself and believe in yourself. Okay. And if you believe in the teaching of a liar, you have to always remember that every seed and every species must and will always reproduce after its own kind. So if Neville God is a liar, and you just base it on Neville God, because they try to take Neville God and make Neville God like a messiah. You understand? And they've been using the Abdullah Neville God agenda, especially since I removed that name and so on. They're using AI and people who would do anything for a dollar. Okay, they do anything for a buck, to run the Abdullah Neville God narrative. Oh, Abdullah said, oh, come on, bullshit. And then when I exposed, I said, Neville says that the voice spoke and said, and God walk with them. And he said, a woman at his side, say, and if God walk with them, where is he? And the voice said, at thy side. And the woman look at him and laugh, and he said, you mean to say Neville is God? And the voice said, yes, in the act of awakening. So then, if he's God, and he's telling you of a black man whose name is Abdullah, Abdullah means servant. So you be the servant of God. They've always make you the servant of God. That's why all these foolish preachers calling themselves servant of God. I'm not servant of God when I am God. You understand? So in the act of awakening, who am I? If Neville is God, in the act of awakening, who am I? See what I'm telling you? You see how the narrative does run? You see how the narrative does run. You see why they get angry and they try to shadow ban and all of that, and try to use economics. But when you understand who you are, when you really understand money, nobody could stop you, nobody could block you. They will try to slow you down, they do all of that, but it can't work. When you work with nature and you align with nature, you think the atomic bomb could be more powerful than nature? You think guns and bombs and weapons and people thinking America is some we call it some sort of power, and Russia and all and China and so on. They call them superpower. No, your real superpower is in you, bro. Once you connect with nature, yeah, you connect with nature. Nothing more powerful than nature. If an earthquake shake America, then no bomb and no gun could stop that. A real serious earthquake, a tsunami, you name it. And all of these things go back to what? The elements. So I could go on and on and on, but my brother says I've been a whole hour and I have to go on another live. Okay, if you want to catch me on the other live, you can do so. Black Mad Guru, okay. But I'm saying to you, that single eye, okay, is an experience, okay, and many fake people out here talking about you should do this and you should do that. No, no, no. Start with self-love, self-acceptance. Get rid of the old limiting beliefs you get. Boy, hand down to you from your parents. Start there. You have to get visitation from your ancestors even before you could get that kind of experience. You know what I'm telling you? That's why when I was 17 years of age, I was given the rainbow. You look at the color, the Ethiopian flag and all of those things and so on, and the heights gold and green and all of those things. Look at those kind of colors. You see what I'm talking about, okay? Don't let nobody fool you, okay? That's why from Genesis you see the rivers that run throughout Ethiopia and all of that right there, okay? So I really want to thank you all for tuning in. Someone say how to free your mind from negative thoughts by accepting the negative thoughts as a part of you. Accept that you are both God and the devil. Just accept that. Just accept that fact. Accept the fact that you can't be good and you can't be evil. You have to be both. Accept the fact, okay, that God is the devil and the devil is God. It's as simple as that. So when you look in the mirror, you see the devil too. And when you look in the mirror, you see God too. Okay, and you balance God and the devil because you realize that the night is to reflect the day and the day is to reflect the night. That is why if you can't be able to believe a lie until it becomes your reality and become truthful, you understand? Then you ain't ready for what I'm teaching. If you can't believe that you have a certain amount of money when you have zero, when you could start from zero, you know they tell you. Let me just say this here as I come to closing. You know they tell you that Pharaoh demanded, okay, the children of Israel to build bricks without any straw. You know they tell you that. You understand when you understand Moses meant to be born and so on, and you realize it's all about you and so on. Your mother Red Sea staff. You understand? She was here the period, you know, she get a strike by the rod and so on. You had an Exodus to come over here. You realize that Pharaoh is the circumstances that ruling over you, that being your king and so on. When you start to understand it from those kind of standpoint, okay, and so, and you start to realize that your body is a slave to your mind. You realize that you could turn water into wine. Yeah. When you start to understand those principles, that's what I'm talking about. Okay? So, when you do that, money will not be your servant. You will be no servant of money. Don't make them fool you. Money is your servant. You know no servant and no money. And how the money can come? Ideas. Consumerism killing our people. Consumerism is killing our people. Our people start to get some money, they can buy Gucci. They can buy Louis Vuitton and so on. Giving back the same people. Because why? Most people not really tap into the true creative self. When you see that eye open, I telling you, and you awake from the dream of life, come on. You understand how you could close your eye and visualize, you know, you're going into a dream to give you back a dream. You understand, you start to live your life backward. You brainwash yourself too from what you've been taught and so on. Live backward in a backward way. Because the eye now represents you look at an eye behind. That's why these two eyes are always focusing so. You don't get the eye when you open the eye have vision inside of you, you can so. So you have to live a different way. That's why people tell you that the Bible is a book of truth. No, the Bible is a book of lies. It's lies. You have to use lies to activate faith. People understand why it's faith. That way the churches then get them blind faith. So you have to believe a lie about yourself. So you believe that you're going to have a real estate. You have to speak that you have real estate and believe you have real estate until the belief turn into a certain feeling. But it takes discipline. It takes self-mastery. And then afterwards, you buy your first property, you start from zero. Zero. Let me roll my tongue, man. Zero. I talk from experience. Zero. People go and bank, go borrow money and all of these kind of shit. You don't borrow as a slave to the lender. You start from zero. You start with idea. Man, I could go on and on and on. You start with an idea. That's what I'm talking about. Man, talk about the eye opener and you waiting for get a check from YouTube. And when you get a check from YouTube, and it sweet you. For example, let me say I come to close here because I will go on whole day. I see a man and I see him spreading some sort of propaganda about my country, talking about how our country gonna receive. Well, if I get all of that right there, I'll be talking. I'll tell you who the man be, but I don't care. Okay, talking about how people in our country gonna get free visa for go to America. Like if somebody want to go to America, it land opportunity right between two A's. The people who will try to leave this country to run to go to America is the people who are no asset, their liability, and there will still be a liability up there. So yeah, he's spreading that. This man used to have Africa next to his name. You know, he might remove Africa and use a different word now. Then he started to get more views and more subscribers. You mean we're going to certain things, man. Okay, so my brother, my sisters, if you want the eye to be open, if you want to awake from the dream, stop worshiping idols, stop believing idolatry, get rid of this whole white Jesus mentality, stupidness. Stop believing the Bible, how your parents and so on tell you. See it as a book of mind science, start to love yourself and believe in yourself, and ask your ancestors to show if this man who's speaking to you, if he's true, in terms of he's a real messenger, whose eye been open. He whose single eye been open. They would visit you. That's how sure I am. They would. Once you ask with a sincere heart, ancestors will appear to you in your dreams. Okay? So with that, Mr. My brother, my sister, I said I'm going on another live. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I want to encourage you to tune in next week and the week after and the week after and the week after and share. And let us work together. Okay? And let me open the Bible to you to make sense to you and show you the nonsense that they've been feeding you since you was a child. So with that, Mr. My brother, my sister, I just want to say peace. Love you all. I'm out.